How you guys doing? Welcome back to Country Mash. I hope you guys have been awesome, and today we are reviewing the Palmetto State Armory PA-10 and 6.5 Creedmoor Gen 2. And yes, I know there's a Gen 3. You're still going to want to watch this video though. Alright, so Palmetto State Armory recently released their Gen 3 version of the PA-10s in 308 and 6.5 Creedmoor. So why am I reviewing a Gen 2? Well, first of all, a lot of the Gen 2 rifle rolls over into the Gen 3. So in the Gen 3s, they fix a couple things and upgrade and update some of their quality control issues. So that's going to be pretty relevant in today's review. So second of all, why do I have a Gen 2? Well, this is the first firearm that Palmetto State Armory has actually provided to the channel. So a lot of you guys may know I'm an affiliate with Palmetto State Armory. All the links that I post for their deals and sales, I do get some kickback from that to help support the channel. But that does not affect how I review anything, whether I get it for free, whether I get kickback from it. And in fact, today's review might really drive that point home. So stick around. This isn't a completely negative review. There is going to be some light at the end of the tunnel. So if there's anything in this review, any of the parts or anything that you guys are interested in, there will be links down in the description box. So we're going to kick off the review by briefly talking about some of the specs and details. There's some other videos that go into more detail, so I'm not going to go too into detail on that. And then I'll share with you guys what kind of accuracy I've been getting with this guy. And then I will share my overall experience and the kind of reliability issues I've had. And then how it got fixed. So let's start it off by talking about some of the specs and details. So the configuration that I received is a 20-inch 416R stainless steel heavy profile rifle length 6.5 Creedmoor. The barrel has a 1 in 8 twist with a 5/8 by 24 threaded muzzle. And even though the rear of the barrel is a heavy profile, it still uses a 0.75 diameter gas block. The gas block is an adjustable gas block, which we will go into more detail later. It has M4 style feed ramps, and on the end of the barrel is an A2 style flash hider. Both upper and lower receivers are forged 7075 T6 aluminum, and the rail is a 15-inch lightweight M-LOK free float rail, which does not have any anti-rotation tabs or any QD attachments for a sling. The bolt carrier group is a 6.5 Creedmoor specific bolt carrier group with a high pressure bolt with dual ejectors and a small diameter firing pin hole. The bolt itself is made out of 9310 steel, and the bolt carrier is 8620, and both finished in nitride. It includes a mil-spec style charging handle made out of 7075 T6 aluminum. The trigger is Palmetto State Armory's 2-stage nickel boron trigger. And on this particular setup, it has the Magpul STR stock and the Magpul Myad grip. Alright, so now what kind of accuracy have I been getting with this guy? I can tell you right off the bat, this thing is definitely a tack driver. I have gotten as good as half MOA groups on several different occasions. But what I was able to get on film for you guys is me shooting 5-shot groups at 100 yards out of the bed of my truck, which is not very stable, and had a little bit of wind that day. So sometimes real world testing, it's what I get on video. But I'll show you guys right here. The 3 different types of ammo I tested were the Cellular and Bellet 140 grain FMJ, and that gave me about a 2-inch group. And then using something a little bit more expensive, which was the Hornady Whitetail 129 grain interlock, gave me about an 1 1/8 group, which is actually pretty good for the price of that ammo. And then the last group I shot was the Hornady ELD Match 140 grain, and that gave me about an 1 1/4. But the Hornady ELD Match is actually the ammo that's given me the best performance throughout most of my testing, and I've been able to get 1/2-inch groups on several different occasions using that ammo. So take that for what it's worth, but I'd just like to show you guys real world accuracy testing as well. So now we're going to talk about my overall experience, and I'm just going to start it off with the cons, because there is some good to talk about, so I'll save that for afterwards to kind of soften the blow a little bit. But when I first got this in, literally when I started breaking in the rifle, because Palmetto State Armory does recommend a break-in procedure on their stainless steel barrels, within the first couple of shots, I was getting cycling issues. And so right off the bat, I knew I was going to have problems with the adjustable gas block. But I did shoot around 500 rounds before I finally contacted Palmetto Armory to get them to fix it. So I sent it back to them and I got it back, and I've been putting a lot of rounds downrange. I've actually had zero issues since then. The gas block that they swapped out is the original Gen 2 gas block. So we'll talk about that. It's going to be one of the changes for the Gen 3s actually. But with the one that they put on there now, I haven't had any issues as of yet. So far so good. The second con, which is it's kind of cosmetic, but also it just kind of makes you question if it can cause issues, was that the M4 feed ramps on my particular rifle were kind of chewed up when I first got the rifle brand new. It kind of looks like, I don't know if someone tried hitting them with the Dremel, or if maybe like some parts hit it or something like that. But they just look a little beat up and they're kind of rough. I'm not quite sure what happened there. But seeing that was just kind of disappointing. And then the last thing was the wear on my bolt. It's not necessarily surface wear, but it looks like there's a couple of areas on the bolt lugs where some metal was either chipped off or sheared off. I'm not exactly sure what happened, but it's definitely a little bit more wear than you would like to see. But again, since I've had a replaced gas block, I haven't had any issues with cycling or feeding or anything like that. So it seems to be working fine as of right now, but it's good to note those things that happen when you're spending this kind of money. Now, when it comes to spending this kind of money, you do have to take into consideration that as of right now, I just checked, the Gen 3 PA-10s, or at least the 6.5 Creedmoor version of this, you can get for around $700. So initially, when I was going through all these problems, I was pretty frustrated. So I'm like, you know what, this guy's going to get a pretty bad review. But when you really think about it, $700 is so cheap for an AR-10 of any style. And the fact that this is a 416R stainless steel barrel, chambered in 6.5 Creedmoor with a 6.5 Creedmoor dedicated bolt. It has all these things to it. I had to really take myself back and be like, you know what, there's actually some pretty good value in this. I think with just a couple fixes yourself, I mean, mainly just putting a better gas block in there, like the Superlative Arms adjustable bleed off gas block, I think would be a really good investment. And even with that cost, you're still not spending a lot of money for this entire package. So it is a good deal. And then some of the pros that we have to talk about are that this thing is really accurate. I know the accuracy test that I was able to get on film isn't the best, but I know this thing is accurate, and I'm actually really impressed for its price range. And as frustrated as I was with this gun, I was really impressed with how accurate it was. And then I also like the trigger. And now the trigger, they claim, is a 2-stage trigger. However, I like to call it a 4-stage trigger, and it's kind of a gritty 4-stage trigger. And I know that doesn't sound good, but that's just the only way I could describe it. But it's actually a really nice trigger. So I'll show you guys right here what I mean. So you have about 4 total stages, but the break is really nice. And so when I'm doing my part and the weather is doing its part, I'm able to get really good groups using this trigger. And I don't see myself swapping this trigger out at all. I actually really like it, but it is kind of gritty and it has, I don't know. So I'm not necessarily one of those who will measure a trigger and then see how gritty it is, see how much take up there is, and then judge it by that. I like to take it out and shoot it. If it allows me to be really accurate, then I don't care if it's gritty. It has nothing to do with how it shoots, then it doesn't matter to me. So take that for what it's worth, but I really like this trigger. So all in all, do I recommend this rifle, and would I have bought it myself if I could do it all over again? The honest answer would be no. But that's because there is a Gen 3 that seems to have corrected the main issue that the Gen 2 had, which is the adjustable gas block. It was definitely the weak area. So now the Gen 3s have an adjustable gas block that has a detent in it, and I think it's like 5 positions or something like that. But it essentially makes it so the adjustable screw can't adjust by itself under recoil or under temperature changes or anything like that. So in theory, it should be more reliable and it should be able to get it dialed in better. I don't have one, so I can't say for sure. but I am impressed with this setup. Based off of the facts on paper alone, I think the Gen 3 PA-10s are going to be good to go. I don't know if I will get my hands on one eventually, but I would imagine they're probably good rifles. So if you guys are interested in getting one of those, again, there will be links down in the description box for the Gen 3s. I don't believe the Gen 2s are still in stock, or if they will be coming back out with them. If they do, and I'm totally wrong, I would still say maybe just look at the Gen 3s, simply because the Gen 2s have had some gas issues. So before I wrap up this video, I do want to ask any of you guys who may already own a Gen 2 PA-10, whether that be in 308 or 6.5 Creedmoor, if you guys have had any issues or if you've had just a stellar performer. I think a lot of times with budget products, sometimes it's hit or miss. I think some people get really good ones and some people get some bad ones. And I think in this case, I happened to get a bad one, but it was corrected and fixed from Palmetto Armory, and I am happy with it now. It's a lot of fun to shoot. I think I'm actually falling in love with this 6.5 Creedmoor cartridge itself as well. So let me know down in the comments what you guys think about it. If you guys have one, what kind of experience you've had. And that wraps up today's video, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it and got something out of it. If you did, go ahead and hit that like button. Thank you to everyone who has subscribed to the channel. You guys seriously rock. I love talking to you guys over on Facebook and Instagram. And yeah, that's it for today's video, guys. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you next time.